Are we live?
Yes. Yes, we are.
Oh, okay.
I just need to figure out how to do a redirect real quick.
Oh, you're fine. Hello everyone. David is off screen right now. But he will be here eventually. Hope everybody is doing very well today. It is February. Whew, crazy. What February means, by the way, in case anybody forgets the importance of February, is that this month is the month of LangTime's birthday, anniversary. I don't know, what do we call it? Starting day, celebration day. So yeah, February 27th, it will be our third year starting. And so that's incredibly exciting. So February, yay! Okay, so the LangTiversary, yeah, Lang, maybe just Langversary. Maybe we could take out the t. Um, oh, yeah, the video didn't start when we started streaming. Weird.
What?
I think it's something on YouTube's end that Jonathan wasn't, like, his YouTube or their YouTube didn't pull up, like, actually start the video when we started streaming, and so they didn't know that, like, we were actually live, but now is caught up with us. And so I think YouTube just did something funny on their end. Not, I think everybody else saw, well, people are chit-chatting, so they're here. Oh, Miles says there's a little bit of a lag. That could be on our end, that we, as we had said last week.
Not my fault.
Last week we had some issues with our computer being extra laggy and slow. And so this week we did an experiment where we like shut down a lot of background programs on all, both users, because this is a different user on a single computer. And so we tried to shut everything down to see if that helped. David may have started a computer update process about 20 minutes before the stream.
It was like 40 minutes.
Okay, he says 40 minutes, but may have started an update process that maybe should not have been started. We'll find out what happens during the stream. But yeah, so the lagginess, we apologize. It may be just us. Oh, Magpie says video normal there. So, hey. Hey, anime fan. The invisible Conlang kid, indeed. Although Magpie's audio is a bit staticky.
I am
good God.
so sorry.
You just
not done on
tossed
purpose.
Me about.
That was not done on purpose.
Also, I hope. Well, actually, wait. You know what we forgot to do?
What?
Actually, can you pull up what it looks like on YouTube? Did you forget to move the icon?
What icon?
The LangTime icon in the video.
Yes, I did.
And so David's face is probably still covered by a LangTime video. We'll figure that out. But hopefully the lighting looks better, because we finally got ourselves a halo light. And so hopefully we look
well, Jesse got
better.
Yeah. Shoot.
Also, you're getting compliments on your shirt. And if in a moment you want to call attention to your shirt.
Yes, I do. I do.
Thank you, Jake. Jake says I've always looked angelic. That's awesome.
This is a shirt that Jesse made for me.
With that little slug pilot.
That's right. And so I am wearing it today. So anyway, you can say why.
Well, Jonathan has said that really it just blocks a cool t-shirt at best, or at worst rather, not best. And so everybody says they can still see your face. So that's,
yeah, I know.
That's good. Oh, wow. Hey, Carl. Nice to to see you pop in. Um, and so, well, you're wearing the shirt today because it's awesome. It's a shirt we don't think you've worn on stream. Um, it's a cool LangTime day. Also, as Miles said, the LCC Conlang Relay is is starting. So if you signed up for that, it's starting in a week. Oh my gosh, that is like a really quick turnaround. But we recently released our February podcast for our patrons at the higher tiers, and that podcast episode really detailed the Conlang Relay process, and so celebration of that as well. We're also going to have a really cool announcement at some point today during the stream, which is what David is kind of working on over here, which is why he was off screen to start and is still kind of working on some stuff in the background.
And also, like, I don't think you can actually change where the watermark goes. Look at this. You can change, how long it shows, if it's the entire video, custom start, my end of time. You can remove it. But I thought that you could just move where it was.
Well, you know what? It's fine. Everybody says it's fine as long as you don't crouch in the...
You can make it smaller.
Slouch, I guess, is the better word than crouch. Davide, thank you. We are quite excited about this phonetic inventory that we have going. It was, I think, surprising to both of us where it went. And yet we're really, really excited with it. All right, so, oh, Miles says there's a good contrast to the image and the color of the shirt. That's exciting. All right, so I'm going to go through the poll results, which, had you pulled, if I go to Safari, is that good? Like, is that all up on Patreon already?
Yeah.
Cool. Oh, you did it. Thank you, David. Okay, so we had a poll for our patrons because we have our inventory. We think it's pretty set. I was happy with having fewer vowels but more diphthongs. I'm not entirely sure David was excited about the fewer vowel situation, and so we may revisit that. Maybe, I don't know. But we definitely needed to start thinking about syllable structure and what we'll allow with all of these really cool consonants that we have created. And so in thinking about syllable structure, we needed to start figuring out what consonant clusters would be allowed, specifically in the onset position. And so that is an important question to go over. The first option for our patrons to vote on was that there be no clusters at all. In other words, CBC would be the maximal syllable structure at the proto stage. Again, that's not saying anything, wouldn't change as it went into modern stages. Maybe we would end up allowing clusters. This question is just for in the proto stages, what should we allow given our current inventory? And so that was one option. Another option was to say we allow clusters, but only with oral and nasal stops as the very first consonant, as in that onset position. And we would allow the R, that approximate is the only one we're allowing, and that actually is in both options for allowing consonant clusters. And so you can see here the options that were listed, where it's really all of the, again, oral and nasal stops. We only have one nasal stop because we technically have two, never mind. We've got the M and then the MWA. So we do have those two. Both of those could be followed by R. But, they would end up coming out the same in the consonant clusters because they would both kind of end up taking the same shape. So you can see here all of our options for all of our clusters under option 2. Option 3 would add to that inventory, allowing not just the oral and nasal stops, but then further allowing all of the fricatives to be the first consonant with that, again, with the R at the end. And so those were the options the patrons were voting on. I will say very, very clearly our patrons did not, scrolled too fast, too far. very clearly our patrons did not prefer this no clusters option. And so that only received 5 votes out of the 47. So they did not want that. And, oh, nice, Dark Horse. We got our consonant packs. Love it. And so we will definitely have clusters. Now, of the next 2 options, we've got, again, clusters with just the stops and then clusters with both stops and fricatives. And of those, our patrons preferred the latter. Another clear preference. And so if you were following along, kind of like watching how the votes were playing out percentage-wise, this is no surprise that option 3 won. It had the majority, so like 26 of the votes went to this option. So we're going to be allowing both oral and nasal stops with the R as the second consonant in the cluster. And with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and type a note about that in our document, closing out the poll results on my laptop first. And setting that aside, David's figured out a problem, which is exciting. All right. Whoop, whoop.
I don't see it.
I'm going to scroll down to here-ish, and I'm going to add a section. Oops. On syllable structure. In the protoforms, dogling. Oh wait, we're still calling this LangTime, aren't we? Like in the document, the language name is LangTime. Yeah.
Oh my freaking goodness gracious. Diggly darn it.
It's always fun to hear what comes out of David's mouth when he's trying his hardest not to actually cuss to, you know, make our stream not so family friendly.
You know what I did? You know what I did?
Well, you diggitily doggone gosh darned fried something.
I cannot believe what I did. I cannot believe it, but I'm fixing it now. Oh my God, do not call it that. Wait. Okay, no, it's fine. That better be freaking fine. All right, and now for this part, I'm just gonna paste that. There we freaking go, freaking freaker.
Doing great, doing great.
There. Unbelievable.
Ooh.
Thought somebody was falling down from the wall because of how.
Because of how loud you were, I'm going to try to let that through though. There we go. That was our mail being dropped in. I pulled it through so the thing wasn't stuck. We're good. All right, so I've got a note in syllable structure. This is not technically a section that is regularly included in the overall document, but I like to include it because otherwise I forget. And so here I've got it actually outlined that we have a maximal CCVC structure in the proto stage. Onset consonant clusters restricted to stops, both oral and nasal, or fricatives followed by the approximate R. All consonants are allowed in the coda position at this stage. That is something that we had decided last time. We do have a lot of really cool consonants, and so we were like, you know what, all those can appear. If you were here last week or if you saw last week's episode, then you know that I was initially against consonant clusters altogether. But then David spent some quality time pronouncing all the different consonant clusters he envisioned. And I had to agree that they sounded very dog-like. And so I was like, you know what? Whether or not I prefer it myself, that doesn't matter. What matters is it was in keeping with the spirit of our dog language. We also discovered, and this is not something that I think was ever discussed in the post that you actually did. We also discovered that the inverted R shape here in the uvula, this shape I'm highlighting right there, actually appears differently depending on what platform you're using. So whether it's the R with the straight line on the left side or the right side, it totally shows up. Like you can copy and paste this exact character
Oh yeah.
into, say, a text message, and it's going to flip it a different way.
And it's weird because they are actually at two different Unicode points. They're actually two different Unicode characters, but for whatever reason, they're like, doesn't matter.
And so we then did some research, and it turns out a lot of people have had this problem. The R, whether it's flipped this way or the other way, where the straight line, it's like still upside down, but the straight line is on the other side. Whichever way it's flipped, the IPA only has one of those versions. So, Phew, it's not like we're accidentally sending the wrong IPA character. But for whatever reason, some systems show it one inverse where it's like flipped vertically. And then the other one where it's flipped horizontally is essentially like, it's like vertical and horizontal flipping where it's like a diagonal or just horizontal. Yeah.
Or just vertical.
Vertical would still be right side up.
No, that's horizontal.
Oh, that would be horizontal.
Yeah.
No, horizontal flipping would go, so it's upside down. Okay, anyway. I don't know my axes, apparently.
Yeah, like here, actually, if you want to go to any image.
Image? Like, you mean like...
No, scroll up. Click on that. Go to arrange. Flip horizontal.
This is horizontal?
Yes. See? Flipped object horizontally.
And oh my god. In my head it should be the other way.
Yeah, and if you hover over it, a little pop-up will tell you.
Weird. Okay. Yeah. David's right.
Every so often.
He doesn't get to hear that often enough, so I like to make sure I reinforce it when it is.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, Jonathan is saying that the... I can't even remember what that's technically for. The H with the double hook shows up differently.
Yeah, that's the Swedish one. The simultaneous sh and ch.
Oh, that's that one? I thought that one also had like a line or something.
Well, that might be the other version.
I always forget. Okay, so thank you, Jonathan, that you can see where I'm coming from. So it just seems to make no sense, but whatever. The point is, no matter how the upside down R looks, it's the same. There's no separate IPA thing. Okay, so now we have our proto-syllable structures. I did want to double check, David.
Yeah.
We have a 5-vowel proto system. Were you happy with that as the monophthongs? Again, we haven't touched diphthongs yet, which is something I definitely want to include. So my maximal structure will end up probably being, CC, VVC, where we need to talk about what diphthongs are allowed.
Yeah, no, I'm happy with those protoforms, so I'm happy to get into diphthongs. Before we get into that, do we want to do this now, or do we want to do it
Are you
later?
ready?
Yeah.
If you're ready, I think we should do it now because I think it's really going to set the tone.
Okay. But yeah, by the way, it was just, it was really embarrassing. I was editing the index.html file inside of a folder, not the main index.html file, which explains why nothing was happening.
Do you see me shaking my head at you?
Yeah. It was like, I literally, I was Googling all over. I have this web page pulled up that's titled Basics of the Index.html default web page. That's how much I was like, I'm not making a mistake. There must be something wrong with the site. That's how far it went. So, anyway, would you like to do the honors? Yeah, pull up a new tab because we have a new website to show you. And that website is copycon.com.
There's no...
That's it.
And it's ready to just hit enter?
Hit it.
Woo! Fancy. Okay, so welcome to CopyCon, and David did all sorts of fun little things like, there we go.
Yeah.
Woo! So like it gets all sorts of, you can see that it is very Woodstocky.
Oh yeah.
Woodstockish.
Yeah.
If you will.
This font, by the way, was used on the Doors album, Waiting for the Sun. And so I'm very fond of it.
It just makes the Y's look backwards. I really have to look anytime there's a Y.
Really?
Yeah.
I can't think of a why that is. But anyway,
I can't think of why that is.
Yeah, haha. But also the font is nice and big, so you should be able to see it on your phone very well. But there's lots of information on here. Right now, our speaker page, you can see me and Jesse, but if you scroll down, you will also see there are mystery speakers to come. A number of them, and they will be revealed slowly,
but surely,
over the coming weeks.
And it's not that they aren't confirmed, it's that we're just holding you in anticipation.
Yep.
And we're excited. And, okay, so yeah, this just goes throughout. But, you know, like you can click and find out cute pictures and, you know, see information. See, look at the Y.
Yeah, baby.
Like every time I see the Y, I'm like, what is that? So it takes me a minute. But yeah, you'll see works and websites and everything. So that will be for every speaker. We'll end up having that as we unveil them. Right now, you can't, you know, you don't get anything. You just get a question. Check back. You never know who's going to show up there. And I'm not gonna give away any details, but I heard David speaking to someone earlier today, and I think that announcement will be coming soonish.
Yeah.
And so that's exciting.
Also emailed somebody else today. Jesse doesn't even know about that one.
All right, so you can see that we are also able to announce the overall location. We had said it's going to be Washington, D.C. We can now announce it's actually more specifically going to be at Georgetown University. And so we're going to be, it's going to look different than this when we get there, because instead of these couches, we're going to have it set up as like a conference style seating, but we're going to be in this gorgeous room at Georgetown University. Also, shout out to some amazing folks at Georgetown University that are making this happen, including
Alexander Johnson.
Johnson is her last name. I almost put the two names together and said Mackey, but I was like, wait, that's the chair.
Alexander Johnson, and then the department chair, Allison Mackey.
There we go. Yes, it's two A names. And I always want to put their last and first names with the opposite name. And so I realized as I was about to say the name, though, I was like, no, that's wrong. But they have already been amazing, and they will continue being amazing just because they are. And we'll have some really cool student help and everything in getting this to happen. So exciting. And there's also just some general information for you if you're curious about, you know, like where it is. You can find it on a map and get some things. Also, they're going to be helping us get more specific information for things like local hotels and whatnot, so that we can share that with you.
Yeah, and
we get it.
Yeah, that'll be on the pages as soon as we get it. There's already information on the metro system, which is great because there's actually an app. And in fact, if you have an iPhone, you don't even have to go to a website or anything. It's something that you can automatically build into. It's built into Wallet. You can just add funds to it, and you can use that for both the metro system and for the buses. Very convenient, very convenient. And for this, you will need both, because Georgetown is in an older part of the city that is not connected directly to the metro system. It's actually right across the river from Arlington, Virginia. So as you start to look at places to stay, you might be staying in Arlington as opposed to Washington, D.C. Anyway, so let's see, so that information is there. Schedule information is forthcoming. You can see the little about page I wrote.
Yeah, so, day-long celebration. Woo! And then also how it came about. But of course, y'all know this part. You were here for it,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so we have that information. Back in the day. And so yeah, our Kopiko candy celebration, and you can read all about that.
Yeah.
We can also, this is what we're working on right now, really. Did I click the wrong thing? There we go.
Yeah.
Right now, we're working on the schedule. And that will, of course, the full schedule won't be released fully because, like, we have to release all the speakers before we can actually release the full schedule.
Yeah.
But we are currently nailing down aspects of that. And the final thing.
Yes, go ahead.
Is it?
Yeah, because I want to make sure, yeah, it's fine.
And it's open right now?
Yeah, absolutely.
You did all, oh, look at you. Okay, so this is, I think, just been done in the last 2 hours because we've had a lot of discussions, but like I didn't know it was actually ready. Registration is open for our patrons, and currently it's opened for those who have pledged at least $35 over the course of your patronage, so like the lifetime of your patronage. If you're not a patron yet, you can become one.
Yeah.
But also, you can check back later
and this
for
goes,
open registration.
This goes for former patrons also that have covered that amount, and also for patrons if you're under it. Basically, this is it's $35 by September 1st. So
2023.
Yeah. So and by the way, the only reason that we're limiting it at this point is because space is actually limited. So we don't have unlimited space, but basically we want to make sure that every single patron who wants to go gets in.
And past patron, just in case you missed what David said, because he mentioned that, but like I want to like really reinforce that, past patrons included.
Yeah, and then once that slows down, and we're pretty confident that every single patron and past patron that wants to go is going to go, then we will look to opening it up more broadly to everybody else. So, but yeah, and again, really, the only reason that we're doing this is because space is limited.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And all right, so and there's also a link here for those people. Yep. Dun, da, da, da. And so yeah, you will again. This will be September 23rd, 2023. And we will open it up to others when we make sure that patrons get their spot. And make sure patrons double check your email that you use for Patreon and make sure that that email address is what you answer in this box. Ooh, shoot.
Yeah,
sorry.
Don't worry about it. But like, it's okay if that's not the email you use all the time, and that's not the email you want to use for communication. Yeah. It's just for verification, just to make sure that we have the same person. That's all. Because we're going to be doing this manually because there's not a ton of spaces, so it's no problem to do it manually. Yeah. So we'll just take a look and then email you back and say yes, you're in.
And so just make sure you're double checking that email, and then here. The email needs to be something we can match up with Patreon, but if there's whatever name you want to go by during CopaCon, make sure you enter that here. And then, you get to choose your favorite.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just want
to... Actually, this would probably honestly be mine.
That's right.
That's just because I really like drawing those little mice. I still have fun drawing little mice. Okay, so that is our exciting announcement.
All right.
Woo!
Yep.
And will we need to like go back in the video and take out that little blurb where I accidentally pulled up your contact list because I clicked on the thing?
I don't think so.
Okay.
It just lists other email addresses, right?
I hope so. I don't know what email address you had.
I mean,
I just freaked out when I saw it. So.
Everybody knows I have a ton of email addresses. That's okay. It helps to sort things. Anyway.
Jake is asking how long the patrons have to confirm their places before it opens. Oh, bye, Brian.
I mean, bye. I don't know. It's just like we kind of want to see how many people respond, how quickly. If it starts to trickle down, we might open it up. But basically, if it's the type of thing where like you might have a commitment that's going to come up and you want to just, I don't know, put a hold on it or something, let us know, like message us on Discord or something. Um, you know, I mean, we'll see. I don't know if there's going to be, even when we open it up, there's going to be like a huge, response. Well, until we start releasing some of the people that are going to be there.
I know, it's like once the speaker list, quite frankly, once the speaker list starts getting filled out, that was our concern, was that we wanted to make sure patrons still had their spot if they were able to go.
And by the way, we'll let like via Discord or Patreon, we'll let everybody know when we're going to open it up beforehand and be like, hey, we're going to open it up on like Monday and it'll be Thursday or something, so this is your last chance.
Yeah. We'll let you know in advance. And it is not formally at all in any way sponsored by Kopiko, but maybe we'll get their attention. I don't know. And
in the form of a cease and desist.
Oh my God, but part of our budget and luggage allowance needs to be for just buying giant jars of Kopiko to have just like set up at,
Well, but that's the thing though. Like, since we know people in the area, we can just have it shipped there.
Oh, that's so true.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So that's all good. That's one of the nice things about doing it, A, in the U.S. and B, in a place where we actually know people who live there.
That's true. That is true. All right. So, yeah, we may not want their attention. We do have a backup name if we do get a cease and desist, because it was sort of an accidental backup name. We won't say it.
Yeah.
But the wonderful people at Georgetown had a name that they were just calling it.
Yeah.
And so we do have backups if we come across issues.
I can actually see how you could take the current logo and morph it into that.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll just do one of those for fun.
Well, it needs to be like Kopicon : and then we could have like the by name, and then if we are not allowed to call it Kopicon, we will just get rid of the pre-colon stuff and keep the colon, of course. It'll just be colon in event. Okay, Jonathan, now you have to tell us an espresso candy that they like better than Kopicon or Kopiko.
I will say, when it comes to coffee candies, I am a gourmand, not a gourmet. I've had many different coffee candies, and they're all so good. In fact, the one that was usually at my mechanic, because he always had coffee candies there, most of the time it wasn't Kopiko, and I really, really liked it. It just so happened that, on this day, I forget, did I tell him the full story about why this even came to be? Did I tell you? I know I've told you.
I don't know, but I do want to say that I'm loving the suggestions: generic coffee sweet con, no pecan. Like, I'm loving these. Y'all are doing great.
Yeah.
Bali's Best is Jonathan's new favorite, so that is amazing. And Mateus will actually have a Kopiko, even though he hates coffee flavor.
Yeah.
But for Kopicon, there will be one. Thank you. All right, so I'm going to let you answer that.
Yeah.
I want to go see. I'm getting a little thirsty, and I wanted to grab a drink from the fridge. And so you tell us where it came from, and everybody be ready to start thinking diphthongs. That's where we're going. If I can get out of this chair.
Oh, sorry.
Diphthongs.
Anyway, so this was the very beginning of the pandemic. All right, this is like the first or second week of March, and my dear mother, bless her soul, can sometimes be a little excitable, and so there was this big, there was this big worry at the beginning that we were gonna, run out of basic supplies that were gonna become scarce, including bleach. And, my mother, who's not somebody who regularly uses bleach, was like suddenly like, oh my God, I need bleach. And I've been to like Target and Vaughn's, and they're all out. And I thought this was just really silly. But I was like, I know where I can get you bleach. And so I said to my sister Natalie, come on, let's go. Let's go to the Dalat market. Because I figured if there was any market where there wouldn't have been a huge rush on supplies, it would have been the local Vietnamese market. Because most of the non-Asian residents of my city just wouldn't ever go set foot inside of it. And so we headed over there and indeed found some Clorox bleach, which I hope my mother feels like she got her money's worth from that. Did all the things you do with bleach. Anyway, but while I was there, I wanted to pick up something fun. And so I was looking, I was like, ooh, Copico, I know that. Because I had seen it. It wasn't the main one at my mechanics, but I'd seen it before. So I was like, I'm going to pick this up. And so I grabbed it, went to the register and bought it. And really, really enjoyed it. And so then that was the only and whole reason that I had Copico.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because of a bleach shortage.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we can, at Copicon, like video call your mom so that everybody at Copicon can say thank you. And so this is it.
She'll get a kick out of that.
It's because of your mom. Love it. All right. So I think I'm going to go ahead and delete this, yeah? Because we already have a...
Yes, we can delete
Oh, wait. Do we want to make it... We'll remember that both those go to the same thing.
Well, okay, so I know that Graham doesn't watch the streams live a lot anymore, but this is where we're going to need to start.
We're going to write our first rule, actually.
Yeah, and so we'll eventually, yes, be able to delete that, but not right away.
I'm going to delete the L's, though, because we did take those away.
We did? Oh, yeah, of course we did. Yeah. Right.
We're only doing the...
Delete, quit that, I'm going to quit that, and because I don't need those open anymore.
Karis, it was Copico who went looking for you. That's amazing.
Okay. Sorry, let me join you in the dog language.
Please do. Join yourself, because this is your document open.
Oh, that's right. Okay, so then I think what we need to do is actually open up the Patreon post.
Which is still open.
Yeah, because we're going to use that.
And so we're doing number 3.
Yeah. Which is a good solution. Honestly, I was a big fan of either 3 or 1. I was fine with no consonant clusters as well. I think 3 is pretty good. So first, okay. And so we have the ones with the exclamation points. But there are still some sound changes without exclamation points that are worth noting. So I think maybe the first thing we should do is spread differentialization.
Okay. I will say really quickly, though, these... Here we have been toying with the idea of allowing the pharyngealized R as the second.
Yeah.
But then in the Patreon post, it excluded that.
Let's take a look at it real quick.
Like the only way we get it is through the spread of pharyngealization from the opening.
Since this one... Oh, right. Okay, since this one won, I had an alternate... idea that I wanted to present.
Okay.
So it could be just a poll that we do right now, but it was only if this one won.
Okay.
And so currently, if you go back to our IPA chart very briefly, we have listed R and pharyngalized R as phonemes.
Mm-hmm.
However, now going back to Patreon, you'll notice that we have this sound change, which I still believe and will be there no matter what, where the h plus R results in pharyngalized R. So I wanted to throw out the idea, I'll run it by you first, that we remove pharyngalized R as a phoneme, as a protophoneme. And instead, the only place it comes is here.
Interesting. Well, no, I mean, it would also come up in this cluster, yeah?
Oh, yeah, but like, I mean,
A spread of pharyngalization,
yeah,
but as its
its own thing.
That would be the only way.
Yeah.
Interesting. Would you also anticipate, like, let's say we have ri, right? 2 syllables. Do you think it would pharyngalize in those, or would it have to be a cluster situation? Or would it pharyngalize as an onset if a coda from the previous syllable is pharyngalized?
I would think a cluster situation. However, Sandhi is a thing that we will have to get to.
Okay.
Once we figure out essentially what our words are going to look like.
Okay. I just wanted to kind of throw that out there just to see what your initial thoughts were. I would be very interested in doing a poll. There's apparently in Chukchi and also in some varieties of Nahuatl, there are male and female variants for speakers.
I don't like that.
Go by breed.
Yeah, that I actually like more.
The big dogs and little dogs do different things because little dogs are really cats.
Well, let's talk about...
You can't tell me a Chihuahua is a dog.
Let's talk about... okay. Let's talk about some concultural background information that I know that we mentioned before, but I wanted to make clear. So the idea with the dog society is that they actually did, they separated into bands based on dog breed for a while. And there was some infighting amongst the breeds until they came together and reached an accord, and that's why they have this kind of, confederation of the, they're the united, confederation of the dog clans, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I actually love the idea of them having separate, initially kind of like the same language before they kind of broke apart, and them having perhaps separate vocabularies and separate, realizations of things based on breed that's just now kind of incorporated as a feature into the language.
Mm-hmm.
And also it's the type of thing where it could easily be misinterpreted. So, like, maybe some feature of Chihuahua pronunciation is reinterpreted by younger generations as just a way of speaking cute.
That cutesy wootsy.
Yeah.
Okay. So here's the thing.
But, the reason I want to stop and talk about this, of course, Biblaridian has made his first appearance, and so, of course, we want to...
Hats off.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for being here, and thank you for gracing us with your presence, your beneficence, your brilliance, and, in general, your beauty of spirit.
He's a beautiful spirit. So you're going to be in charge of creating that poll.
Oh, yeah. What? Oh!
Because I'm on the big computer.
Oh, my.
And so you need to be in YouTube.
I saw it somewhere. Where did I see it? There it is. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, goodness.
All right, here we go.
That's what happens when you let David do things. You got to go to the plus button. Yeah.
Plus, start a poll.
Yeah.
Okay. Shall we remove And then as a protophoneme.
Oh, let me go back to the IPA chart. And I want to actually like kind of highlight. This is what we're looking at.
Will now only occur in clusters or as a realization of the proto-sequence. Boy, there's all kinds of H's, which is...
Oh, Biblaridian, you did not need to do anything to deserve that greeting. We just kind of adore you.
Yeah. Okay. HR, there we go. By the way, you know what's back today?
What's back today? Today's Groundhog Day. Winter is back?
Thursday.
Thursday.
Which means new episode of
Poker Face.
That's right.
Yes. My God, we binged the first 4 episodes that they released all at once last week, and I've been missing it ever since last weekend when we binged all 4 episodes. Know what I'm doing tonight. Woohoo!
Okay, there we go. And your question is too long.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you're limited to 100.
Oh.
David's now.
Hang on. $20 whole characters?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There you go.
Well, I'm not, I don't appreciate the verbiage, but there it is.
David had much more typed and then found out he could not be so wordy. And now he understands why sometimes I struggled in making that. Wow, you're not even on live over there. Look at that. That's old.
How do I?
Because when you're not on the same screen, it like doesn't keep up.
I do want to tell everybody about, since it's kind of adjacent to the discussion happening right now, there's William Laboff is the one who's done the most work on dialects and dialectology and linguistics. He found something interesting regarding accents. So, like, he went to Martha's Vineyard, and there was a traditional Martha's Vineyard accent, and he kind of like interviewed a whole bunch of different speakers. And to try to see where the accent was strongest. And there were a couple of different groups he found. One of them were groups that, were from the island, of course. Everybody was from the island, natively. But who worked directly with mainly tourists and sold stuff to them. And in examining their accents, he discovered that the ones with the strongest accents were, in fact, the ones that worked with the tourists. So you think, one way of thinking would be like, oh, they work with so many people who speak so many different varieties of English, you'd think it would be closer to the standard. In fact, it was the opposite. It was even more pronounced. And anyway, one of his conclusions from this is that, we actually have a lot more control over our accents than we believe. And that, in fact, they were kind of playing it up as a way of, driving the aesthetic of the island, which essentially they were representing. Like, that was part of the reason people were there and buying stuff, was because of, their opinion of the culture there. Wow. 23 votes, 20 concurrent viewers.
So you need to end it, I think.
Man.
So, side note, Jake is asking if this is where your Lady Gaga slander came from I believe that was during our patron stream over the weekend, where David just suddenly went into this thing where he was like, I don't really like her music because Poker Face is one of her songs.
Yeah, like I keep trying to find a song of hers that I enjoy, where I just hear the song and think, that's a good song.
Side note, I rather enjoy her music. But go on, David.
Well, okay, so here's the thing. She's such a tremendously talented artist. And I've never found anybody like that where, like, you hear the song and it's it's like every single song sounds like she is trying to be her persona, and it's just very distracting to me. I don't know. They all have like a weird thing in it.
This is what happens when you don't stop the poll. But go on.
I know. Oh my goodness! Now they've come back. Everybody's
David's just leaving the poll open, even though like
everybody's jumping onto their sock puppets. I love this.
Anyway, this is what happens when I let him do this. Oh, that's amazing, Logan. That is amazing. Logan is telling us about, I say Labov. Is it Labov?
I assume that he's basically American.
Labov?
Right?
Labov.
Hold on.
Anyway, however you say Labov, that linguist smuggled bunnies in under a trench coat to elicit natural responses from small children. I thought it was Labov.
It's Labov. He was born in Rutherford, New Jersey. I figured that he was just, pronouncing it a very American way, like Labov. But William Labov. I will try to remember that now because I've never pronounced it that way.
I was closer on his name pronunciation than you are. Ha ha!
Yeah.
All right. And so that is amazing. Thank you for sharing that, Logan. Now, David, are you going to end this poll? Can we make this happen?
Yeah, I guess so. It just didn't have the result I wanted.
Oh, that's what you were waiting for. Everyone, David was waiting for you to remove this as a protophoneme.
Yeah, I was. But, you gotta know when to hold them, know when to fold them.
And it would have,
it
actually, I guess maybe we should have talked about this more because it would have made a lot of sense because then that would be why that never shows up in consonant clusters because it's not actually a protophoneme.
Yep.
We should have really talked about that more before you posted it.
Yep.
You should have ended it when it was 50-50, then we would have decided.
I know, yeah.
You let it keep going.
I know.
Anyway. So now we have this. We're here now. Indeed. So,
that I think that in general as a conlanger, I prefer things to be cleaner and simpler. And, this is just a cleaner and simpler thing to do. It made much more sense. It also makes sense that we wouldn't have any pharyngealized approximants.
Mm-hmm. I put that on you, David.
You want to have a revolution?
I mean, this was not a patron vote. We never said we wouldn't go against getting opinions in a live stream. Do you want to try again? One more time. Having explained this.
Nope.
Or do you just want to do it?
Nope. I'm just going to do it.
David's just going to do it. And actually, well,
gone.
Why'd you delete it? It should be green. It should be there, but green, because it shows up. It's just not proto. God, David. You're right. And I still don't know exactly how you pronounce it, but Vololopurgisnacht, you're right. It seems rigged. It only added up to 98% in the first place. I mean, come on now. It's still a phoneme in the modern form because it will contrast.
Absolutely.
Because it'll show up in positions where the R would also show up. So it will still contrast. It will still be a cool thing. But it also makes sense that none of our approximants are actually co-articulated at the proto stage, or dual articulated, whichever one you want to say right now. None of those are done at the proto stage across the approximants. Another cool thing is now it makes a lot of sense why our consonant clusters are limited to just the plain R.
Mm-hmm.
And that is because there was no other R in the proto form. And so now it sort of all works together and makes sense together.
All right.
So
now keep it there. I'm going to jump to the sound changes section. And we're going to write up our sound changes. So first, I still think that first should be...
Spread of pharyngealization.
Yeah, actually, can you go to the Patreon post?
I can definitely do that. And, whoops, wrong. Dag nabbit. Dag nabbit. The different mouse settings have me all over the place. I'm just scrolling everywhere and going too fast.
And we see the first ordered sound change as well, because the 3 at the bottom, what's going on?
I don't know. Interesting. Anyway.
Yep. The 3 at the bottom have an extra step.
Yeah.
But what I wanted to see was if it matters whether we say it's just pharyngalization spreading or if it's also labialization spreading. But I don't think it does. So...
well, both spread, yeah.
Yeah, and there's never a situation where one will spread and the other will not. That was what I was curious about. So...
But we did have one more where there was deletion. This one also had deletion.
Yes.
Okay. So I just want to make sure you saw that. Okay. Going on.
Oh.
This one's interesting too. The gra is automatically going to be...
Yeah.
That feels like... Well, the K does the same.
Yeah.
Because that's not a...
I think that's actually what we should do first. That should be our first sound change. So, non-labialized velars labialize. Okay, so first sound change is velar labialization. And of course, I'd love for people to be able to see this, but then I also need... No, it'll be fine. Okay, yes, because we just need this. So jump over to the document and show the historical notes section.
Sorry, close your eyes if, like me, you can get a little woo from screens scrolling too fast. So sorry.
And then in front of... Yeah. The funny thing is, you could actually write that because there's only one consonant that would be.
That's true. And so this is actually an interesting choice in writing rules, though, because you could write this because only one consonant could appear. However, you could get a CC situation where it's a coda followed by an onset and it's not a cluster.
Yeah.
So do we need to put like a period in front of that to be like, it's got to be the onset of a syllable?
Well, I will say it feels like a little... you shouldn't write the rule this way. And I'm going to say that even if others won't, because if there's some future stage where, for example, like things get borrowed into the language that have other consonant clusters and they eventually assimilate and accept those consonant clusters, this rule would, predict that you'd get this labialization before that, even if it doesn't make sense. Because it's really the R thingy that's doing it, so I should just put the R thingy.
But also, later, if they borrow words, these changes would have already happened, yeah?
Yeah, you're right. The thing is, it was the R-iness of this thing.
And no, Magpie, a coda followed by an onset does not count as a cluster. So, for instance, I can say litmus in English, and that TM is definitely not a consonant cluster.
Yeah.
Or whether you say a glottal stop, litmus, right? Like whether you have a glottal stop there followed by an M. I don't know why that was the first word that popped into my head.
It's a great one though.
But it's a great example because like that consonant cluster is obviously not an allowable cluster in English. And so yeah, coda and onset is separate in situations like that. And so here we're getting our velar stops labializing in front of the R.
All right. Yes. Okay, so that's the first change that happens. And so now go back to the web page.
Mm-hmm.
And next, I think we're going to write our spreading rule.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's not just velar, it's also uvular.
Oh, thank you. Call that back labialization.
And that'll help because down here it's the velar fricatives that do the same thing before it's reduced.
Okay.
And so that'll really help. Because they end up being, the plain ones end up being labialized when the R drops.
No, they do it before. Look. So we got to list those too.
Oh, sorry, I didn't realize you said stop specifically. I thought it was just velar and uvular, because it's really just velar and uvular consonants.
Obstruents. Okay, so then we have a whole bunch. Okay, let me make sure I've got them all.
Do you want me to go back to the IPA chart?
Yeah.
Sorry, close your eyes.
Okay, so it's this one, that one, that one, that one, and that one. Yeah. Got it.
That one's already labialized, so we don't have to include those, so that makes sense. And then both the ch and the r should be included.
Yes.
Yes, you've got that. Cool. And so really it's everything. So what David is excluding are the ones like these that are already labialized. And so it's like we don't need to say anything about that.
Yes. All right.
So we have back labialization where the velar and uvular stops and fricatives we have to specify because as of right now these would not be a consonant cluster anyway. So
I said obstruents.
Obstruents, there we go.
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay, so we've got that. Now
I also think I'm going to rename this.
It needs to be like, oh my gosh. Okay, so now I have to scroll down. No, wait, I can do a find. There we go. All right, David has renamed the rule, and I needed this to be on screen. This is the
Biblabiorization.
Biblabiorization rule.
Yes, biblabiorization.
So we now finally have bib in our document in a way that I have to really stare at it.
This rule was written in honor of the great Biblaridian, who specifically and vociferously gave it his imprimatur. There.
Um, so a little bit of lying has gone on, but we'll just memorialize it, I guess. Um, and Jake, you had asked what's the reasoning for not including the uvular, and we have now for the loss of the rhotic.
Oh no, we haven't gotten that yet.
Okay. The justification of the palatal stops. Yes. Okay. So.
But yeah, bibliorization. It makes sense to me.
You totally spelled that wrong.
What did I do?
There shouldn't be an I there.
Oh, that's just the British pronunciation. Yeah, bibliaridian.
Oh God, no. Get rid of that I. Doesn't even know how to spell your name, Biblaridian. Okay, and we'll get to justification at some point.
Wow, actually, so
Wow,
biblaridian, it sounds just like aluminium. What's the other one that they say that's odd? It was something about what when like recreatory. What was that?
Oh, the word for like celebratory, celebratory.
Celebratory. That was it.
Celebratory. There we go. Okay.
So then, bibloratory.
David. Okay, so we have our first actual rule. Everything below it, if you're just glancing what David has highlighted here, these are all the rules that are in the template. This is not at all our language yet. The only rule that is formalized is number 1. After we get these first initial rules formalized, we will put some space in between the template and the actual ones.
Yeah, in fact, if we want to just hang on to this, because loss of diphthongs might be useful. Let's go ahead and put some return carriages there. So now we know. All right, so next we are going to have secondary articulatory spread, right?
Yes.
Oh, this is going to be a fun rule. This is so absurd that I don't even know if I should do this. Okay, wait. I got this.
Can we do a little alpha?
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly what we should do.
But that needs to be.
We can.
Okay.
We're gonna get it. Don't you worry.
Okay.
I've got this. Where's my Greek? There it is.
And then just make it superscript.
Yeah.
You can do it right there.
Oh my God, yeah.
Okay, let me go back to the Pages document so you can see what David is doing here. Originally, he had a little superscripted X, but that doesn't really work because, one, you could have X as a articulatory secondary articulation. So we wanted to make sure it was something that couldn't be misread. And so, yeah, a plain consonant or some consonant form is going to take on the secondary articulation when it follows a consonant that already has that particular secondary articulation. And importantly, it's going to take on the same one.
Yep. So consonants that are...
And Jonathan, yes, David did say return carriages. Oh, advertisement. That's another good one. Dynonid.
Yeah, I guess I always assumed you could say both. Can you not say...
advertisement?
Can you not say return carriage? Is it always a carriage return?
No, I always thought it was return carriage. I thought that was the way to say it.
Son of a gun, it is carriage.
It's a carriage return? I have always heard it the other way.
Sometimes also known as a cartridge return. Let me think that
I really thought it was always the other way. Ooh, a power return is another.
we need to go where we need to go is actually Wiktionary, to see if there's variation.
Or no, it's carriage return or carriage returns.
Dang.
I really thought it was a return carriage as well.
Yeah, I've said that a whole lot. I wonder if I've
Ooh,
typed it in something.
I'm gonna find it in your book. Highlight it as an error.
Well, yeah, indeed. The carriage is the thing that moves across and that it returns. Yeah, it makes sense. How about that? Okay. Consonants that are pharyngealized or labialized. Spread that.
My God, it should be a trolley return. I do like
Pharyngealization / labialization to a following consonant in a consonant cluster.
Perfect.
Yeah, so I should probably.
So it's not any consonant, it's really the R.
Come off it, lass. All right, there we go.
Oh, yeah, it really likes to change that.
Yeah.
All right.
That one I'm okay with it being more generic because that might actually apply to.
Cool. Sounds like you're running on empty.
Ooh. Running on empty. Oh.
Okay. Next sound rule. Okay. Oh, are you asking Jonathan what that was? That was David trying to drink water.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, hyphens. I don't know. Something else is going on. Anyway, so we've got that spread of the features, which covers quite a few. Okay, we covered that because, wait, we didn't cover that. MR is neither velar nor uvular.
Oh no, it doesn't matter because that's just secondary. Oh.
It becomes MW.
Oh. Oh, excuse me.
But that's the only one affected. It's not. It's
Here.
Also nasal.
Go to it.
Okay, but still, really, with the extra I? I took it.
Now it thinks it's misspelled.
I thought it was misspelled before too.
Biblioridian?
Yes. Okay, so nasals do it too. David's rule is no longer so nicely solidified.
Yeah.
But.
Goodness gracious.
/ nasal. Woo!
I mean, because like
life is getting interesting.
There is a feature that captures the labial plus velar section, but then we want to exclude the stops.
Can't you write the rule like isn't this where you do the straight up and down line where it's option 1 or 2?
No, I'm not familiar with that.
You should get familiar with that. Okay, so we now have that covered.
By the way, am I even on camera? I am on camera a little bit. Well, that's good.
All right. Do I look good on camera? Is this lighting?
Look at your hair.
Is
it's
it okay?
Just
I can't.
Wonderful.
Thank
Just
you.
the curl of it.
Thank you.
Wonderful.
Oh, y'all should have seen my hair last night. We went to the beach to watch the sunset, which was very exciting. But like all the beach air got my hair very big. And so pictures over the evening, my hair just got bigger and bigger. It's great.
It was. So Bibleridian. Apparently, Bibleridian isn't phonetically or phonotactically viable in David's dialect, and the repair strategy is to either add or remove an I.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Yes, yes.
So true. I just can't believe how long I went with Bibleridon. It was the dumbest name.
Because you didn't get it. Okay, so good question. We do need to block the spread of aspiration because that is a secondary articulation, but we're not spreading aspiration to the R. It's only labialization and velarization. So, vololo porkisnacht. I'm going to say it slightly different every time. Good call. Oh, Jonathan and Jake, you too.
I want you to see what I'm doing.
Oh, I need to go over to the Pages document to
you
see
to see
David's
what I'm
shame minus
Spread glottis.
spread glottis.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm putting it in small caps.
To me, that's like minus singular. So as long as it's plural.
And since it's the alpha, I think you got to put them on both. I mean, I don't know.
A Biblerodon is a type of dinosaur that has teeth for books.
Or
books for teeth. Either way, yes.
Oh, man.
Wow, David.
If we were dinosaur digger-uppers, I'd totally name one a Biblerodon. It'd be cool.
We will be dinosaur digger-uppers in our spare time. That is what we will do.
But crucially, not aspirated. All right.
Okay. Back here. Whoo! We're getting some rules today.
Yeah. So now things are okay. So now we've handled everything
except the deletion part, which needed to wait. We've got yes. We've got those becoming the same thing.
It's the bottom ones.
Well, it's the bottom ones, but also this one.
Yeah. So then that's a general uvular rule.
Yes.
Yeah.
It does apply to all uvulars, as I can see it. All uvulars and then our pharyngeal.
And so we're going to call this...
No, pharyngeal is different. Never mind. All uvular follow the same thing.
Consonant cluster simplification 1 is R.
Ooh, hey Tethys. Welcome. This has been something.
Yeah.
We've now seen David write some iffy rules. And listen, I'm all about the iffy rules. I do my own thing when it comes to sound changes. I have some fun with it, whatever. But David has always been the one that's been persnickety about like, no, it's got to be formal. It can't just be written. And so persnickety David is now doing things like minus spread glottis.
It's just how I...
And a superscript.
It's how I understand it, you know? It's just easier, because then you can just look at it and it tells you what it does.
Whew.
All right. Oh, thanks for letting us know where you got all the teeth, anime fan.
Anime fan is referring to something else, though.
I know.
But, oh well, I'm not going to scroll through.
All right. Okay, so that gets deleted after consonant that is plus UPR. All right.
Yes.
And then that. Oh, actually, we might end up changing that. But yeah, you know, this is what we're gonna do. Ah! Did I just press a button on my keyboard that just finds the next Bibleridian?
I'm a a little bit concerned about you.
Yeah, it's wild. Okay, but there we go. See, now it's now it's it's
Appropriate.
Yeah. Okay, so then the R gets deleted after uvular consonants. The the consonants are or oh, we should say C plus rhotic.
Yeah. Because at this point,
Yeah.
it may be secondarily articulated because of rule number 2.
All right, deleted. Yeah. And they'll never be pharyngalized because it's going to be after uvulars, after the uvular consonants.
Look at that, you're right. Okay.
That's twice in one stream, by the way, I want to point out.
Let's celebrate. It's the magic of being in that seat.
In fact, you know how I want to celebrate?
Well, you're going to write the next rule, and then we're going to celebrate.
All right.
We need to get further away from that little spread glottis mess up there before we celebrate.
Consonants, clusters, specifications 2. All right.
That was not your audio messing up. That was David. Oh my gosh. Yes, Magpie. The Biblerida button. That's what you were pressing. Oh! There's an on-screen explanation of where Bibleridian came from. That's what Anime Fan was talking about. Thank you, Tincture, for catching us up. Thank you, Anime Fan, for saying that.
All right. Okay, so for this one, it really is just a simplification, but I suppose that we can write it as a deletion rule. So consonant plus pharyngeal goes to
zip.
Goes to 0 in front of consonant plus rhotic.
That's amazing. So Bibleridian's explaining it here for us all. There's a hadrosaur called Tlatopus, which is Nahuatl for word crest. So if that's allowable, then so should booktooth.
Why word?
I don't know. It's a Nahuatl word from, I'm guessing, but the Tlatopus would be a Greek word, and it just happens to also be a Nahuatl word, that is.
Oh.
I think. I may be misreading that. But, yeah, the modern Greek word for library is something with the biblar front part, and I think with a case ending, you could probably get to Bibleridian in modern Greek, I think. Oh, the generic name of the hadrosaur comes from the Nahuatl word, meaning word, combined with Greek crest.
But then why did they choose the word word? Was it an accident? Were they looking up, like, what's the Nahuatl word for
Due
something?
to the crest's resemblance to the glyph word in Aztec iconography. Iconography. Thank you. I couldn't get my syllable right. Resembling an inverse comma.
That's the glyph for word? Just looks like a backwards comma.
That's amazing. Thank you, Tethys. Thank you, Bibleridian, for pulling this into my realm of knowledge. That's just absolutely amazing. Also amazing is that this is a super cool example of how a glyph, a written glyph, can actually inspire the name of some concrete noun out there because of
Yeah.
its shape, because it reminded them of the glyph, not of like the word meaning. This is not a semantic extension. This
Yeah.
is like, oh, that totally looks like our glyph shape. So let's use that as the name of it.
Yeah.
That is amazing.
You know, when we were all submitting designs for the Conlang flag and voting on it, the design I submitted was one that was pretty highly voted. It was the one that gave us the background. In other words, the sky up here and the black bar down there. Except that in the middle, I had the Greek. I'm sorry, I had the Egyptian hieroglyph for tongue, and people started referring to it as the tree glyph because it looked like a tree, and it did. It kind of looked like a tree, and then there was a sun behind it, and so. But then from that, it was kind of like I think it was Christian Tallman that was the one that came up with like, well, hey, why don't we? Since they didn't like the idea of having a word from an actual language in there, they were like, let's do the ziggurat from the thing, and he rendered it, and then he used the black bottom bar and the sun, and then added the background. Anyway.
Okay, quick question.
Orange Joyce.
Oh, we have. Oh my gosh, you're right. It is orange Joyce. That's amazing. But without the salmon. So really just rice with salmon juice, maybe. Anyway, salmon Joyce.
Yeah.
The title of this makes it clear as consonant cluster. Did you want to like specifically say like in consonant clusters? But like same for rule number 3. Do we need to like specify, or are we good?
We don't need to specify because that would never occur.
Okay. Okay. So David has formalized our rules. We get to celebrate.
Well,
I
actually,
think.
it might occur if it's a Sandi phenomenon.
Well, then we're gonna need to revisit, etc., etc. Well, Jake, we were just reading what was in your text, and it said Orange Joyce, and so we were reading that. And maybe it is Boston. Who knows? Sriracha, mayo, sesame oil, and crispy onions. Delicious.
There we go. Fixed it.
All right.
All right. Oh, did you just?
Nice, Jake. Yeah, I'm out of coffee in that little cup, so I got my big.
All right. Cheers, partner.
Cheers. Ooh. Cheer pico. Oh, no, wait. We need to be saying keep peace.
Oh, that's right. Keep peace.
Rejoice. Orange choice. Yes. Oh, no, I can't open mine. I may need to get scissors out. Oh, no. I'm
Copico,
struggling.
the official, totally unofficial sponsor of CopiCon. Please don't sue us.
Love here. Oh, well, if you're going that way.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'll be back. You can go.
Where are you going?
Don't worry about it.
David disappeared? What do you guys want to do? We have all the changes in the world we can do right now. I'm going to do a silly little change. I feel like that needs to be in italics. Because it's just not a word you would normally pop out and say unless you're David. I would never use that word. Anyway, back up here. I'm excited. Oh, tincture. Yes. If I could figure out a way to fix it in his little rule thing there, I would just explain it. I would just be like, these specifically list the W and the pharyngealization spread. Reintroduce that. Ooh, I can kill all the sounds I want. Yes, diphthong time. Indeed, I think I am ready to think diphthongs. which makes me happy. My immediate thought is like, allow all of them, but I also want to play around with how they sound. Also, I'm pretty sure we can delete this because we've got that formalized now. And really what mattered more was what was in the Patreon post. And so I'm just going to cut it. And if David complains, I can paste it back in. All right.
All right.
I
Now,
delete.
let's pull up our handy list of those
Consonant clusters and what? Oh my.
Anyway.
Is that a glitch?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god, it's on my screen too. They're gone.
Right.
What happened?
They walked off. They picked up their little carry-in sticks with their bags attached, and they walked off.
That's without that text, the entire language falls apart.
It's done. All right.
Unbelievable.
Okay, so Miles has a suggestions that we should only have essentially what I would call height changing diphthongs, where they start mid and then you could have like au, ea, but like you can't have au and ua. So start mid, go either high or low, but all the mid vowels can actually start a diphthong.
Huh.
All right. So wait, let's just type.
Yeah,
type some options.
I think you know what? I think that we're essentially what we're doing right now is we're building the next poll because I don't necessarily. Yeah, and only ending with high or low vowels. Well, hello, Squid Exorcist. I know that you have a very important job exercising squids and that you are very, very busy. So I really appreciate it that you're here, and I appreciate that you're keeping our seas safe, especially for those of us that live on the coast. So I want to clarify for option 1, are we also admitting 2 of the same vowel?
Option 1 would.
Yeah. So how about allow all diphthongs that shift vowel quality? Okay.
So actually this should be option 2 because that's more permissible than the other one.
We're going for most promiscuous to most chaste.
Most chaste would be don't allow any of them.
That would be, but there are other things that we could do. For example, we could say, we could disallow schwa. So it's just A and O. Yes.
Okay, good. Okay, so other options.
That actually is interesting.
Would be Tethys is saying like only starting with the so I, oh, are allowed, but nothing else.
Just throw that on there as an option, just so that we have it. And then I want to include Jonathan's options as well. Option as well.
Oops, wrong one. Oops, wrong.
That's actually should be option 6. That seems to me to be the most chaste. Because Jonathan's one actually results in more diphthongs.
Okay, just a second. I'll change the order. Okay. And if you consider a diphthong as two vowels sharing the same nucleic space, then long vowels would indeed count as diphthongs. Not long vowels, there's two vowels really of the same quality, which in general is a long vowel. That would be included. So in thinking about this, just think about any two vowels sharing one vowel space, and so whether or not you allow the long vowels as a variant of a diphthong is what we're asking here.
Yeah. I'm pretty happy with any of these options, I think.
Yeah, cohabitating vowels, that's what they are.
Yeah. I think I'm happy with all these options. I think option 4 is my favorite so far.
One reason option 4 is, I think, interesting is that it forces the change, the shift that happens in vowel quality to be more radical. And so it makes it so you have to move basically as far as you can. Because in the back vowel realm, where if you have au and oa as diphthongs, they're not moving very far, much further than anything else is, but you're changing rounding, which actually makes kind of a big difference. The central to like a, oh, you change rounding there, but like there's a very small difference between o and ew. Like it's there, but like it's a very small difference. And so when you think about how these protoforms come together, think about these dogs in their earliest stages as they're like trying to name the things around them in their world. You want them to be distinguishable. And so diphthongs that are very closely pronounced, in my estimation, would not be as likely in protoforms, more likely in modern forms where it's like, well, that was accidental, but we got to live with it because it happened.
Yeah.
And so that's not to say we wouldn't have those kinds of diphthong distinctions in the modern form. The question is, in the protoform, does it make sense that like these were distinguishable sounds for these dogs?
100% Davide. Absolutely, two consecutive vowels can be pronounced separately. That is, the term for it is indeed hiatus. Famous natural language for that would be Hawaiian, where you can have long strings of vowels. But also for a creative language, Dothraki, that's one of its features. It's that you can have a bunch of vowels next to each other, even the same vowel. You can in Spanish too, and we know where they came from. They came from voice stops from Latin being deleted. And that's why credere in Latin, which gave us credit, is creer in Spanish. And creer is two sequences of e. It's not a long one.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, Jonathan, I see what you're saying, where you would disallow like they have to have different heights and or rounding. But yeah, that'd be hard to say why the I and ea is not allowed. Like that doesn't make as much sense.
Oh, Davidi, I was going to say no for this language. It doesn't make as much sense because we're trying to stick with like syllables here. So no.
I'm okay.
Yeah.
So let's let's play with this because like I don't want to give 6 options for the poll.
Okay. Well, I mean, let's err on the side of what you like better.
So what I was going to do is pull. I wanted sort of a 2-syllable root to play with, and play with some pronunciations. Maybe just putting like B in between them, so then I can like you get a full stop of the vowels. It's not like a sonorant that kind of leans into the vowel. You know what I'm saying? Like,
are we gonna have disyllabic roots?
no, not saying we would. I just want to hear it.
Okay.
And I want to like hear it contrasted with a monophthong after it. So like this is all for hearing, not for like we're gonna allow these kinds of shapes necessarily. I don't know. Maybe we will have disyllabic roots. We'll find out, David.
Mm-hmm.
But let's say we've got B blank where our diphthong is going to go, and then we're going to have an A at the end. I'm not going to keep typing the fancy A. There's one A. We know what it is.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to go there.
Yeah.
All right. So under option 1, that would mean we get Beuba.
Mm-hmm. It's going to be a lot of stuff.
Beuba. Beuba. Beuba.
Yep.
Beuba. Beuba. Okay. Beoba. 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 This is our master list, by the way, because if we allow them all here, then we just copy this and take it away as we go.
Sure.
Also, I want to put them in order, though. Beba. Beba.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll put the schwa in between. Beuba. Beoba. And then beaba.
That's in order.
Stays the same. Changes to mid. And then oo, o, ah.
So left to right, top to bottom. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. Or top to bottom left. No, whatever.
Would you prefer Beuba and then across the middle and then the bottom?
This is good. Let's just keep going. All right.
Now, Control C that. Oh, wait. God.
You're going to have to do tabs.
I am going to have to do tabs, otherwise it won't all fit.
Mm-hmm.
Dag nabbit. I am so not happy with that. All right.
You want me to do it? I bet I'll be kind of quick with this. Here, we can both do it.
All right.
Do the first one.
I'm on the schwa now.
I'm O.
All right. The schwa, we've got Beba. Ooh, I do not like that. Bubba. Hey, Bubba. We got you included here. Bo. Ooba. Oh, wait, you're doing... I see what you're doing. I see what you're doing, David. I will follow suit. I apologize. The schwa was next. This is the U. Oh, wait, did you highlight mine? Yeah, you did. Okay, you just... You know what? I'm going to keep doing this. I see what I'm... This makes more sense to my brain. Belba, Bubba, Bilba, Bilba, Baba. Yeah, you know what? My first instinct was like, let's do it all. And now I'm like, oh, goodness, no. We are not doing it all. If you wanted them all, I am sorry. Boba, Boaba. Okay, I'm good with those. Boba. Boba. I'm meeting you in the middle. Do you see how that's working?
Yeah.
Boaba. And then here we have Baoba and Baba. That should be them all, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
25.
That's not happening.
All right.
All right. Option 1 is too much for me. It's overwhelming. I can't do it.
Here, you start working on option 2. I'm going to do option 3.
Okay. I just moved you down, so I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. We're not allowing those.
And you're just deleting them?
Oh, should I strike through?
No, that's fine. I just wanted to know what you were doing.
I would love to be able to like fix the list easily, but are you fixing it, like spacing and everything, or?
Oh, absolutely. Look. No, I mean, oh wait, no. Oh no,
Okay, I
no.
can leave it like this.
Yes.
Okay, so option 2, we have to shift qualities. But honestly, option 1 didn't speak to me, not because of the long vowels. I was fine with the long vowel situation. I did not like boba being boba, boba, beoba. Like, I did not like all those distinctions. Boba. Nice. Okay, I'm striking through this option as well. Okay. Now option 3, Beuba, Beuba, Boba, Beaba, Boba, Boaba. I don't feel like there's enough distinction between those sounds.
Mm.
Not a huge fan. I think I may end up liking the last 3 better. All right, disallow the schwa, Beba, Beuba, Beoba, Beaba, Bueba, Booba, Buoba, Buaba, Boeba, Bueba, Boeba, Baeba, Boba, Boaba, Bauba, Boba, Baba. Okay. Wait, did you like option 3? Was that the one that I'm just like?
My favorite was option 4.
Okay. Beba, Baeba, Baba, Boba, Boba, Baba, Boaba, Boaba, Baba. Interesting. Option 5 is interesting to me. Not necessarily my favorite, but it's interesting. Okay. 6 is really limiting. Right? Because everything would be gone except that last column. Yeah. We would only have 4. And that's even less than what we would have in option 3. Okay. In saying these, I want to add a different option.
Okay.
Because when I say them out loud, the ones that to me start overlapping are the ones where you're distinguishing between the U and the O in the diphthong. Like buaba, boaba. Or if we had, beuba, beoba, beaba. I'm trying to figure out how to word this. Like bauba, baoba. Like I hear it, but at the same time, it's like baoba.
Well, it's like Brian's pointing out, we could collapse them later.
That's true, Brian. That's true. Okay, but is there another option we can add where we're going to get more? Because I'm not a fan of 6, just because I feel like it's too limiting.
Well, we better here.
And 3 feels too limiting. Okay. I'm going to just type this out and let's see if we like it.
Okay.
And that would take out...
Start on the right. those are all allowed, except for boo. Yeah.
Yeah, that was the only one I took out. Bye, bye. Okay. Okay.
Based on its permissiveness, this one should be up here.
Yeah. Okay. 2.5, yes. One thing, like, I really feel strongly that the AU has to be in there because, oh, oh.
Well,
like, I mean,
well, for option 3, O is in there. Oh.
okay.
And so all of these have either ow or o.
Okay, true. Oh, and Jake is mentioning that we could get long vowels from diphthongs with a schwa, which is true. So even if we don't have, again, this is the proto stage.
Yeah.
We could also get long vowels from other situations.
Yeah.
Including we've got a W in play. That approximate R, I could imagine in certain ways could end up doing something funky. So like we do have other ways of getting long vowels. This is not saying if you don't vote for something with a long vowel in the proto stage that we won't end up with one. The question is at the proto stage, which ones sound the most unique? Or sound the most dog-like?
Yeah, and the only question I have on any of these, if you can go down to option 5.
And Jake, yes, all consonants we have said could be a coda consonant, including a W.
Should we eliminate this one? It's the only doubled one. I mean, following the letter of the law, all diphthongs must involve a schwa as either the first or second vowel. I mean, we could change it to first or second vowel, but not both. But or do you just want to keep it?
God, that does seem weird for that to be the only long vowel, but it's also the only one that participates in the diphthong consistently. No, I say let's take it out. It has to be the first or second. It can't be both. To draw attention to the fact that it's not an English word. It's a David word. And so, excellent. Okay. This will end up being our poll. I do want to stare at it a little bit longer. 1 and 2. Bless you.
Thank you.
1 and 2 are going to be gone. .5 could stay. I think it's going to stay. 3, I'm still on the fence about. 4 and 5, I think, are good. I think. How are you feeling, David?
Yeah, I'm fine with that. I'm looking at 3 as well. You know, we haven't done this one.
And ending in higher low vowels. Or the opposite. Okay, so adding back in all the diphthongs with a mid vowel as the second vowel, but that start with higher low vowels.
Yeah. Here, hold on a sec. Let me try to do it.
It's almost easier to just start from the...
That's exactly what I'm doing.
You did it on the wrong one, but that's okay.
What do you mean?
We need to switch 3 and 5.
What?
You copied in the whole thing where the text said all diphthongs start with the mid, or did you? There we go.
Very sorry.
Got to keep David in his place here. Let's start only ending with higher vowels or the opposite. Yeah. So babe, bo, boo, bwa. Yes. And then bue, bua, buo, bo, ba, beu, bea.
Kind of like that.
That's interesting. I like that one. I think I like it better than 3.
Yeah. Let's act.
Especially if we are sticking with monosyllabic. That gives us more vowel, proto-vowel forms to really play with. Because if you recall, one of David's concerns was that we didn't have enough vowels.
Yeah.
And so I did want diphthongs as a way to increase our vowel inventory. I also wanted that just because the way I hear how dogs howl, it really feels like it starts in one area and ends in another as one go. And so I really like this idea of having a lot of diphthong heavy options.
Okay, so then 2 things real quick. The first one is I wanted to go back. I didn't think that we were going to add a constraint saying that words couldn't begin with vowels. What did you think?
Let me rephrase and make sure I understood. There was potentially an option where we had to have a consonant starting a word?
Yes.
I
don't agree with that myself.
I don't agree with that either.
Yeah, okay, so that's not on the table then.
So
somebody had mentioned it in chat.
Oh, okay.
Not on the table. Not on the table.
No,
words can definitely begin with vowels.
It could begin with just a vowel, could begin with a diphthong, it could begin with any of the consonants or a consonant cluster.
Yeah.
And it could end with the vowel, or it could end with any of the consonants right now. So right now, every consonant is on the table as being a coda consonant.
Yes. And then the other question was, as I prepare this poll, which I'll prepare today, I think, because I think I can do it pretty quick. Do you like this format with the B's in there in considering diphthongs? Or do you want me to just write the diphthongs? And feel free, anybody, to just throw out an opinion as long as you're somebody who votes in the polls. Yeah.
Jonathan, we are not deciding yet on hiatus because we don't have any word forms yet to work with. We're deciding in the basic forms of these syllables what's being allowed in one syllable. If it were hiatus, that's not a single syllable. So right now that's out of the scope of this question. But if a vowel can start a syllable, if a syllable can end in a vowel, then yes, there is the possibility that there will be hiatus as things get bigger, but also there's going to be sound changes. There's going to be a lot going on. So like right now, we can't really make any decisions about that.
I'll do both, Jake. So I'll do both. Okay.
And in case you're wondering, like for me, I just needed it for pronunciation to have something that stopped the vowel sound. So I needed to have that b closure that is in our protoform anyway. And I put the second syllable on there, again, not because we're necessarily going to have any roots with 2 syllables, but just so I could hear that transition to a plain vowel sound. That's the only reason I did it this way. It was just so I could hear it and I could feel it in my mouth.
Yeah.
And so.
All right. I'm ready to go.
Excellent. Well, in that case, make sure you pull up YouTube to end our streaming.
I know how to do things.
You know how to do things and stuff. All right. So patrons, get ready to vote. You're going to decide what diphthongs we allow in these protoforms. once we get that decision made, we can start talking about, are all coda consonants allowed after a diphthong?
Mm-hmm.
Are they allowed at all?
Mm-hmm.
Do we have, like, you either have a diphthong or a coda consonant, kind of like we did in Wokukishu?
That's right.
So, like, we have more decisions about the syllable shape to make once we get this decided. And then from there, I think we're going to be ready to start playing with, well, what happens to these? And let's start making up some fake roots to see what happens.
Yeah, and certainly a root could just be a diphthong.
Yes.
Bear in mind that there was an idea that Dark Horse had last season, I think, that we liked, having the name of the language be the call.
Yes, the call.
Oh.
Of the wild. Oh my God, this could legit just be the language. I like something nice and short like that.
Pretty cool.
So thank you, Dark Horse. All right. So thank you all for being here. Thank you for a wonderful stream. Patrons, go check out that CopyCon website a little bit closer. Everybody else too, but patrons especially, start thinking about if you want to do the registration. And be ready to vote this week. And David is typing something. But yeah, stay grammar. And we'll see you next week.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.